and we have a very special guest here today. She came into the studio to share some testimonies, sometimes that she saw God doing some incredible, amazing things in her life. And I have Sophia James with me. Sophia, good morning to you. Thank you so much for coming to the Breakfast Show and sharing some of your stories with Jesus.
Morning. I'm glad to be here.
Sophia, let's start by first, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? How old are you? What are you doing currently? Let's start with that.
Cool. Well, I grew up, I'm a Queenslander by birth, so from Russell Island near Brisbane. But yeah, I am now currently working at the conference, kind of fresh there a little bit.
All right, so at the office of the Seventh-day Adventist Church in New South Wales, okay? So what are you doing there?
I'm taking over Shanna as the new youth department assistant, so... Yeah.
Okay. So youth department assistant. That's very cool. So for the listeners that may not know so much, but the administration of the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Australia, they have a youth department. With they're basically organizing events and programs for young people, and Sophia will be helping out in that space. So how old are you, Sophia, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 19.
You're 19, okay, very young. And tell us a little bit about, your faith journey. Did you grow up as a Christian, or did you come to become a believer like later in life? How did that work for you?
Yeah, so I did grow up in a Christian household. My parents are Seventh-day Adventists, and yeah, my dad grew up in the church. My mom didn't, but came to the church when she met Dad. Mm-hmm. And yeah, when we lived on Russell Island, my parents planted a church, so it was pretty I got to see the behind the scenes of how the effort that goes into planting
nice.
So yeah, that was really cool actually.
Very cool. Look, church planting, they say, is the extreme sports of Christian life. So I'm a big fan in particular. So I've been involved with a couple of church plants as well myself, and it's really cool. So you grew up in this Christian home. So did you find that at some point in your life you had to kind of make a decision to know, okay, this is my faith, I'm owning it, versus it was just like what my parents told me? When did it become real for you? When did it become like your own personal conviction? Can you tell us a little bit about the process of that happening?
Yeah, so it is a big step. I know it can be hard for kids who've grown up in the church to actually try and take that step rather than kind of just being their parents' faith, because that's something that I struggled with a lot growing up, about when to kind of make that switch, because you can just go about your life just kind of going about the motions, but it's when you actually take it on for yourself, that's when it actually begins. So yeah, a pretty big moment that I remember was at a Pathfinder camporee in Tumbarumba.
So explain to us, what is Pathfinders?
Yes. So Pathfinders is basically like scouts for the church. So you kind of go outside and go camping and have hall nights and hall meetings and stuff. So you can earn honours that go on a sash, and yeah. So it's really outdoorsy. It's super fun. I love it. But yeah, so my dad was the director for a couple of years of the Mooloolan Bar Club, so my home club. And yeah, it was the Pathfinder camporee at the start of 2023.
So camporee is like a big, massive camp event?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it was the Australia-wide one. So I think there was like 4,000 or 5,000 people there. So it was busy.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was awesome. I loved it. And yeah, so I think it was the last night, but I'd been praying for some time because I grew up traveling, so for about 7 years. So I tripped around a lot, and it was like my life.
Around Australia or the world?
Yeah, around Australia. Yeah. So my dad fitted out a bus and everything, so it was a pretty cool upbringing. But yeah, so from that, I love traveling and being outside and everything. And I'd kind of been feeling a bit stuck. So then when I got to camporee and it was the last night, I realized, I'd been praying for some time for just kind of a way to kind of, not an escape, but just like a way to kind of reconnect with like that sense of freedom that I once had. Okay. And it was on the very last night of camporee that it kind of just hit me like a truck. I was like, this is it. This is what I've been looking for and what I've been praying for all this time. And it's been right in front of me this whole time. And that kind of kick-started my walk with God. Our church.
So what was the answer to your prayer exactly? Because you're praying to God, say, God, I wanted to experience that freedom again. So what was it that was in front of you? Was the fact that you were in the camporee that says, hey, this is the freedom that you're looking for? Or was it something else?
Yeah. I think it was the camporee. It was just like Pathfinders, because it kind of gave me the freedom to go outside and actually reconnect with nature like I once had.
Yes. So kind of like God saying, hey, if you want freedom, you're welcome to come and be in my nature anytime you want.
Exactly.
And
with
you have the
church
skills.
too. Yeah. And you get to spend time with all of the other youth from church as well.
Yes.
It's an extrovert's paradise. So
Amazing.
I love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so no, that was actually awesome. And it coincided, well, not coincided, it was definitely divinely coordinated with a Bible reading plan that our church pastors did at the time. It was reading through a Bible in a year. So I've never actually really been able to stick that well to Bible reading plans, but I did that year. And I think that year was the first year that I'd actually taken my walk with God seriously. And it was actually incredible. I had this one spot on my front deck that I could sit there and watch the sunrise, and I was going through this reading plan, and like it was kind of slow in a few places, but it was good to have an overview, a picture of the whole Bible.
Yes, nice. So you read the whole Bible in that 1 year.
Yeah,
amazing.
So yeah, it was really cool actually. So first time I've ever done that, and yeah, it won't be the last.
And can you tell me about a couple of times some of the experiences that you look back, you're only 19, but you have so much experience in your faith, which is, I think it's really cool. Can you share with me some other cases where you find that either God was speaking to you or that God was answering your prayers, that you could see oh, wow, this is amazing. I can see God's doing so clearly in my life. What experiences would you like to share that really that you really treasure in your heart?
Yeah, well, one that kind of comes to mind is at the end of 2023, I did a Youth Rush program in Toowoomba, so South Queensland.
Okay, what is the Youth Rush?
So Youth Rush is literature evangelism. So you go around, you have a bag of books and a handful of books, and you go around door knocking, basically selling the books for donations.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I did that with a couple of my friends up in Toowoomba in South Queensland towards the end of 2023. And I was only there for 2 weeks of the 4-week program, but it was an awesome experience. It definitely pushed me out of my comfort zone.
Yes, I mean, I only tried doing this door-to-door selling books kind of thing once. I was terrible at it, but you know what? I loved it. It was very character building, and you ended up meeting with some really interesting people.
Yes, you really do. Yeah, it's not everyone's cup of tea. It probably wasn't my cup of tea at the start, but then you kind of just push yourself, and it's cool to see how God can work.
And did you have any meetings, any encounters, or anything that happened during that time that you were doing this door-to-door book selling work? Was any experience, any memory that stands out to you from that period?
Yeah, I think that's the last week. It was towards the end. I kind of been building my confidence over the couple of weeks there, and yeah, it was really cool. I've been praying for some divine appointments. I didn't get anything crazy big, but there was this one moment. I think it was towards the end of the last week, but I knocked on the door, and then I went through my canvas, and there was this dad there and a couple of kids that were kind of just standing around, and I went through the canvas, and they didn't really seem that interested. Then I got down to the drop down, which is a little Steps to Christ. And I
sorry, what is that?
A drop down, a Steps to Christ. So
yeah, what is a drop down?
So you have a handful of books that you kind of go through. A canvas is a speech kind of thing, just a little.
Okay, like a sales speech.
Yeah, pretty much. And so the drop down is, if they're not really interested in any of those books, it's sort of a smaller book that's not as daunting as one of the bigger books.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was a little Steps to Christ, and I went to that one, and I was like, well, if you guys would be interested in this one.
Yeah, in Steps to Christ is a book actually that we give away here on Faith FM as well for our listeners. If you're interested in Steps to Christ, well, give me a quick before you continue that conversation. What would be your canvas for that book, Steps to Christ? Why should anybody read it?
It's a great book. Kind of put me on the spot there. But I don't know. It's just it's a really simple and easy to read overview of basically how to get to Christ, and the beauty of it, and how it's not such a big decision, and a big it's not a big daunting you have to be ready, and you have to say all the right things and do all the right things and be the right kind of person. It's just how to get from where you are to closer with God.
Amazing. By the way, if you want that book, Radio Friend, we have a couple of copies we can send out to you. So 0491 064 669 #steps is the code word for that one. So, okay, so you are in this business, and, they're not interested in what you have to sell. And you say, okay, let me just offer Steps to Christ because it's a tiny little book. Were you selling that book as well, or was it free?
Yeah, it was. Well, you can hand it out for free, but it means more if people give a donation.
Give a donation, what, $1, $2, something like that.
Yeah.
So you're talking to them about that book, and then what happened?
And then one of the little girls, one of his kids that were there, I think she must have been 4 or 5 or something, and she was there, and I saw her eyes just light up when I kind of handed out the book. I didn't know their background or anything like that. And she was like, oh, I have some money. And then she ran off and then came back with $5 out of her own piggy bank. So for like a little, like 4 or 5 year old, that's a lot.
That's amazing.
And
yes.
Yeah. And so I was like, oh, absolutely just beaming. It was such a God moment. And
wow.
Then she came back and was like, oh, here you go. And so I gave her the book. And
God bless her.
Because of that little girl, like her parents may not have been interested, but because of that girl, the gospel got into their house.
Wow, that is amazing.
It was awesome.
It is amazing. It reminds me of, with the story of in the Bible of, the widow of 2 mites. She was given like just $2, 2 mites, two tiny coins. And Jesus was like, wow, like she has given more than anybody else here. Yeah. She has given out of her poverty, she gave everything that she had. Just like that little girl. It's amazing to see the faith in kids.
It really is, yeah.
Yeah, what a great story. That would be very heartwarming. Tell us a little bit about this school you're telling me about. Now, you went to this school where they teach you how to share Jesus with other people called Arise. Can you tell us a little bit about that and any experiences, any memories that you have there that you treasure with you?
Yeah. So Arise is a 13-week Bible program. So it's a deep dive into the Bible. Like you learn about the Bible from start to finish, but like super in depth. And you get awesome speakers. So you get like David Ashwick, Ty Gibson, Angelo Grasso, Robbie Morgan at Kingscliff Church. So it's based at Kingscliff Church in New South Wales. And it was an awesome experience. So my class was about 30, so kind of a bit on the smaller side, but perfect size. So we all got to know each other really well. And it was 13 weeks of just learning heaps about the Bible and getting closer with each other as well. So,
but I'm an ex-student at that school as well. I graduated in the class of 2015, so 11 years ago. Don't ask my age, but you can ask. But you're definitely the new generation there. But one of the things that we used to do there is that every a couple of times per week we would go out in the afternoon, just like knock on people's doors and ask, hey, would you like to know more about Jesus? Would you like to know about the Bible? Which was a pretty daunting experience because a lot of people just said, nah, I'm not interested, boom, and just like slammed the door shut in your face. Did you have any cool stories? Do you still do that in that school? And you have any interesting stories that you can share from your experience with canvassing, but this time to present the gospel to people?
Yeah, I didn't have any like negative experiences like that. But yeah, me and my outreach partner, we had a pretty smooth run actually. We didn't have too many people that we found that were super interested. We had a few good like spiritual conversations on the doors, but yeah, not too many kind of big experiences. We had more of like more experiences in Arise for Life, the program after Arise. Okay,
well, can you share with me what happened there? So, one of these experiences that you really you love to share with us today.
Yeah, so Arise for Life is the follow-up program from Arise. So Arise goes for 3 months, or 13 weeks, and Arise for Life is a follow-up 6-month program where you can basically put all the information you learned in Arise into practice. And so you get placed with either one or a couple others that did Arise at a specific church in the North New South Wales region. And so me and one of my best friends, Macy, from America, she and me got place at Olsenville Church, and it was actually like awesome. We had our pastor was Pastor Dada, so he is like a pretty like
shout out Pastor Dada.
Oh yes,
my good friend.
Do you know him?
Yes.
Oh, awesome guy, crazy Brazilian. We love him. And yeah, so we got placed there, and it was absolute chaos, but in the best way possible. I mean, that's what ministry is sometimes. You just dive all in, and then it's awesome. So we did heaps of like small groups, and basically we're just Bible workers for Olsenville.
We have about a minute left in that segment. But what I wanted to ask you is like during that time, the 6 months that you were there, is there any kind of encounter, any moment that is like, oh wow, look at what God is doing?
Yeah. So our focus when we were there was the youth, the kids of that church, and we ran heaps of small groups there, and in the junior small group, I think it was on like the last weekend.
Small Bible study group.
Yeah. And one of the last weekends that we were there, there was 4 of the kids there that we did Bible studies with that got baptized, which was awesome to see. And yeah, it was amazing. It was a really fitting like close to our time there, and it was cool to see that like yeah, God was working in all of their lives, and they all decided to make that choice for God, and we could be like play a little part in that.
Yeah, look, you know what? I absolutely love sharing the Word of God with children. I just love to see how their brain works. It is amazing. Sometimes children's brains operate in a better logic than us adults. You know, because they don't have all these prejudices that we have and all of these, so they say, look, if God said this, well, let's just do it. What's stopping us? And I really love to see that faith, because for us as adults, oh no, but what if God doesn't come through, or what if this, or what are other people going to think of me? With children, they say, no, if Jesus wants me to do this, I'll do it. And when can I start? And I love it, because this is what Jesus says. Look, unless you become like these little children, you won't be able to come to the kingdom of heaven. Like, you really have to have this like implicit trust in God, and this childlike faith. And I really love sharing the gospel with, young people, because I get reminded every time, it's like, wow, this is like what beautiful, pure, and undefiled faith looks like. It's just like, yep, if God says it, He says it. It's true. Well, let's go and do it.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Sophia, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. I hope that I can find more and more young people like you that are on fire for God, that are having that experience and really dedicating your time to help others get to know Jesus more. Thank you so much for coming, and looking forward to have you again next time so that you can share even more stories with us.